We are born under the same sky, but we don't share the same lives, and that's exactly what I'm always voicing out. In polite terms, we are different. We are created differently by the supernatural power who brought all of us humans on planet Earth. He brought us differently on planet Earth. And he put us on different areas on planet Earth. Yes, to be in a position to worship him differently. Yes, based on what we call different cultures, customs, and traditions. And the religions that, of course, will be the ones that will be actually embracing the proper way of each culture, from each nation, from each tribe, how he's supposed to be worshipped. And this particular fact, I'm just going to unleash a lovely topic here about these religions, but I'm going to choose the big three religions that, of course, are well known, well advertised. Everyone talks about that. We know these religions. That is actually the Jewish religion, which of course is from the Hebrew religion. Then we've got the Islamic religion that, of course, also originates from the Abrahamic religion. Then we've got the Christian religion, which of course is a product of impurity desires of nations. The actual thing that I would love to unleash based on this religion is the pedigree wave of cultures that, of course, are used in order to get these religions towards God. I'm just going to start first with the Jewish religion. Among the Jewish people, we've got tribes, or within the Jewish nation, there are tribes. Different tribes that, of course, will actually practice Judaism differently based on their respective or different cultures. At some stage, you find there are those type of cultures from different tribes that, of course, they exercise what we call Jewish militant. That particular issue of Jewish militant is the kind of pressure they will use in order to be in a position to get what they want or the attention they want about the religion of Jewish, which of course is actually put based on their culture. At some stage, there will become some kind of people who might be exercising some violent methods to the other people or those who are not actually aligned or actually coming close to understanding the manner in which they worship God based on their culture within the Jewish nation. At some stage, we find there are people who are being said they are being persecuted by different tribes within the Jewish nation. Those tribes will be exercising Judaism based on these cultures, but the most important thing is, even though they are exercising it differently, everything is actually directed to God. Then I've got another religion that, of course, I'm just going to put across. It's fiber way of worshiping God. The Islamic religion. The Islamic religion, we know for a fact that by virtue of originality or by whole entire knowledge, it's within the Arab or the Arabic nation. Among the Arab nation, we've got different tribes. And these different tribes will actually unleash the worshiping to God based on their different cultures. They will actually practice Islamic religion differently based on their cultures. Along the line, there will be some issues whereby some other tribes within the Arabic nation will be also be reflected with the Islamic militant. Now, the Islamic militant will be some kind of a pressure, some kind of a force that, of course, they can either use it with a violent way or maybe use it in a spiritual form whereby they might be in the position to be trying to convince people to all kinds of things so that people can understand them based on their culture. Each tribe within the Islamic religion or within the Arabic nation will actually be in the position to be exercising the way they want, the method they want, how God's supposed to be worshipped based on their culture. At some stage, we find, yes, they become very, very unbearable because they might even be violent. They might be forcing people to do things that, of course, they're supposed not to be doing. They will be forcing people to follow the manner in which they worship God in the Islamic religion based on their culture. And most of the people fall prey to that because some of them, they're actually being persecuted. Some of them are actually made to run away or being killed because of certain individuals within the tribes of the Arabic nation will be pursuing Islamic religion based on their cultures. And they would not actually accept whatever is not coming their way. Instead, they will enforce that. Let's look at the third religion within the big three, which we may call the baby religion. That is Christianity. Christianity is a baby religion because Abrahamic religion, which actually gave birth to the so-called Hebrew religion, and then at the end, it was called Jewish religion. It's the one that, of course, gave birth to Islamic religion. And thereafter, the one that came last, product of impure desires of nations, was the Christian religion. Among the Christians, or the so-called Christian nations, we know when we talk about Christian nations, what are we talking about? We are talking about the product of impurity. Yes, nations that come from the intermarriages, races that come from all those people who actually don't belong to a specific type of nation. Yes, they came up, they settled in different areas. At the end of the day, due to the coming of Jesus Christ to purify them to the final substance, they were actually recognized within the religion and within places where, of course, they settled. The Christian religion, it has cultures that, of course, are actually being practiced. Let's look at this. From the Greek nation, Christianity is there. And Christianity is actually practiced based on the Greek culture. The method in which the Greek people actually practice Christianity is actually different from the other ways of other nations and tribes. It's obvious. If a Greek church has to be established in a different country, obviously, they will go out there and make sure the introduction of how Christianity is supposed to be practiced is based upon their culture, because they'll be regarding their culture as appropriate. The Christian religion, based on countries like Italy, we've got methods, we've got churches that, of course, they call Catholic Church, Roman Catholic churches. The manner in which Christianity is being practiced by the Roman Catholic Church from Italy is based upon the culture, Italian culture. We'll find there are situations whereby the leader of the church, if he's a priest, whereby sometimes they call him a father in English, that particular individual, based on the culture, because he's a leader, he's supposed not to be getting married. Now, when that Christian religion from the Roman Catholic Church has to be introduced in a different country, whoever will be a leader of that church, will be a priest of that church in that specific country, will not be expected to get married, will have to be in a position to be practicing that Christian religion based on the Roman Catholic way, which of course is tantamount to the manner in which things are being done in Italy. We go around. Christianity in England is actually being practiced based on the English way, the British way. Whatever is being done, it will actually be conducted based on the British lifestyle, the culture of Britain. The leaders of the Catholic Church or the leaders of Christian churches in Britain are allowed to get married, and the churches will be called, or the church will be referred to as the Anglican Church. Whatever is being done in this particular church, or the method that of course is practiced in that church, if that church of course is going to be introduced into a different country, there will be rules and regulations that of course will actually be unleashed to that specific country. How actually to be worshipping God based on the culture of the British people. Let's look at the Ethiopian country. Christianity from Ethiopia, there will be those kind of churches in Ethiopia whereby they will be practicing Christianity based on their cultures. If an Ethiopian church is supposed to be established in a different country, they will actually make sure regulations are stipulated. There are rules that of course will actually be enforced. Those who will be joining the Ethiopian church should actually practice Christianity based on Ethiopian culture. Let's look at the Americans. Christianity in America. Obviously, the manner in which Americans are living their lives, the manner they practice their lives, if ever a church from America is going to be introduced in a different country, whoever will be introducing that church or the American Christianity in a different country will make sure the American cultural lifestyle will be practiced, will be enforced. We got another way, which is the typical African way of Christianity. In Africa, the Africans will come around with their different cultures. They will practice Christianity based on their cultures. Their cultures will be the ones that, of course, will actually be enforced or actually be introduced or be put into practice in order to make sure that, yes, things are done according to the manner in which the Africans or whoever introduced Christianity into Africa will actually be aligned with. But the common factor in the whole entire situation, it doesn't matter the cultures that of course are involved from different nations and tribes of how to worship God. Based on all these religions. All these religions are actually focused onto one way, that is worshiping the supernatural power that we call God. It is obvious among nations and tribes of different cultures, there will be those types of people who actually will be willing to see things being done their way. There will be those stubborn people, there will be those cruel people, there will be those people who allow their presence to be felt within the religion, which of course they will be leading based on their culture. Other nations and tribes will actually come around or go around practicing conversions, trying to convert other people from different tribes into the manner in which they worship God based on their culture. And if people don't want to fall prey to that, then they will actually be subjected to punishment, to persecutions, to being killed. Now, the big three religions in this particular sense are the ones that are giving the reflection better than the rest of the others that, of course, we have not mentioned. But let's concentrate on the two religions here, the last, which is Christianity, and the second, that is Islamic religion. We realize and we discover that Christians always fall prey to persecutions that, of course, are being unleashed by Islamic, or people who believe in Islam, or people who belong to the Islamic religion. Islam has absolutely nothing to do with all this nonsense. Islam is a religion that, of course, God actually brought forth for actually the Arab people to use in order to worship him. Unfortunately, among the Arab people, we find those types of tribes. Other people want, of course, their presence to be felt. They want religion based on their culture must be practiced thoroughly. Hence, they would look down upon the other religions and they start going out there persecuting people who actually don't actually worship God based on their culture of how they're supposed to be worshiping God. Among the Muslims, we find those types of tribes that, of course, are hiding behind Islam, as if Islam is the one that is giving them an instruction to go around persecuting people. Whereas that is not true. Islam is a wonderful religion that belongs to God, that God created and actually put together for the offspring of Ishmael. But always among the people, among the tribes, you always find some kind of odd elements. They would use Islam, they will hide behind Islam in order to be in a position to perform the ill doings. Some of these people from different tribes, they form organizations that, of course, are based on cruel method of handling people, like the Boko Harams. They'll go out there, chase Christians around, kill the Christians, persecute the Christians, especially those who don't want to convert into the Islamic religion based on their culture. I repeat, based on their culture. Islam is just a solid religion, but because there are different tribes within it, each tribe would wish that Islam should actually be practiced based on its own way. We've got another organization, the ISIS. It has its own way as well. It belongs to a particular tribe. And somebody who's a leader within the tribe came up with a contention that his tribe is the one that actually worships God the best way in Islamic methods or in Islamic religion. Then the particular individual started hiding behind the Islamic religion, start persecuting, killing the Christians, and will be hiding behind Islam. Because they don't want to change, they don't want to convert to Islam, they must be subjected to punishment. Islam, even in the Quran, does not reflect killings. Thou should not kill. Islam is also subjected to the same issue of Moses that, of course, are from the Ten Commandments. Thou should not kill. You cannot kill people just like that. But the odd elements within the religion, the odd elements from different tribes will come up with the cultures they want should actually take over the lives of the other people hiding behind the Islamic religion. We know for a fact that most of the people, especially in the African continent, were actually or are busy being killed, are suffering, are being persecuted by the so-called Islamic militants. It's not the Islamic religion that gives the orders for people to be killed or the Christians to be persecuted. The people who actually give those orders are the ill-doers belonging to a particular tribe that wish to introduce a particular culture, how to worship God based on their way of life, but they're hiding behind Islam, which is quite unfair. We've got different nations and tribes, the whole entire world. We know for a fact the ill-doers are always hiding behind the Islamic religion. They're actually making the Islamic religion look pretty bad. It's the one that, of course, is persecuting those who don't want to convert into Islam. That is not true. Those who are persecuting Christians and the others from different nations and tribes of different religions are those people belonging to different tribes of the Arabic nation who actually want things to be done their way based on their culture. They want to run the actual religion of Islam based on their culture. We've got a lot of Islamic people around the world, different places, who don't have the same idea, who don't belong to the cultures that, of course, are enforcing people to worship God based on their culture while they're using Islamic methods. We got to be very careful here. Let us not paint Islam as the wrongdoer. Let us not paint Islamic religion as the one that, of course, is actually involved into persecutions and killings of the people. People are just using Islam as a forefront, something that, of course, they are hiding from when they actually want to actually go on doing wrong things. We've got to be very careful about the whole situation. All these religions are worshiping God. But behind all these religions, there are those wrongdoers who want, of course, things should be done their way. And they'll be putting these religions forward as if they are forced by these religions to commit all those kind of crimes against humanity.